Hello. Today we're going to read a book called Ellen DeGeneres, Groundbreaking Entertainer. Tears with the President. Ellen DeGeneres listened quietly as President Barack Obama spoke of her courage. She listened as Obama praised her ability to make people laugh about something rather than laughing at someone. She listened as he told the White House audience how DeGeneres always reminded people to be nice to one another. Then, when Obama placed the Presidential Medal of Freedom around her neck, she cried. Ellen DeGeneres received the Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama in a special ceremony in the East Room of the White House. DeGeneres was one of 21 Americans honored with the Medal of Freedom in November 2016. The comedian has spent a lifetime making people laugh. She has worked to create an equal and more loving world for humans and animals. She has received many honors and awards for her work in television, movies, and stand-up comedy. DeGeneres was introduced to the young audiences as the voice of Dory in the animated movies Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. A fish. Oh, Dory, a fish, reminded audiences of the power of kindness and of never giving up. DeGeneres earned the Medal of Freedom for her influence on society. The host of the awards ceremony summed it up well. He said, DeGeneres taught us that each of us can make the world a more fun, open, and loving place. All we have to do is just keep swimming. The role of Dory, a forgetful but lovable fish, was written with DeGeneres in mind. The Presidential Medal of Freedom. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is the highest non-military honor in the United States. The award recognizes people for their contributions to culture, the nation, and the world. DeGeneres shared the 2016 stage with several notable Medal of Freedom recipients. They included actors Tom Hanks and Robert De Niro, musician Bruce Springsteen, athletes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan, and philanthropist Bill and Melinda Gates. A focus on the positive. DeGeneres has had a successful and groundbreaking career. She was among the first celebrities to publicly acknowledge that she is a lesbian. This was before being gay became more widely accepted. Her relationships with women captured tabloid headlines just as her acting, comedy, and writing captures laughter. DeGeneres used her dancing to make people smile. Many visitors to the Ellen DeGeneres show share a dance with Ellen, including First Lady Michelle Obama. Working for marriage equality. The Medal of Freedom ceremony was not the first time President Obama thanked DeGeneres. The president appeared on the DeGeneres show in February 2016. He complimented DeGeneres for speaking out on the issue of same-sex marriage. Obama spoke about DeGeneres' decision to talk openly about being a lesbian. He noted how that decision had helped pave the way for same-sex marriage rights. He said that her being willing to be herself gave others power. She has remained above it all by focusing on the positive. She emphasizes the power of laughter and kindness to change hearts and minds. Of course, no event would be complete without at least some humor from the comedy star. There was a mix-up with DeGeneres' photo identification on the day of the awards. No one is allowed inside the White House without a photo ID. That meant DeGeneres had to wait outside until the issue was resolved. She made light of the situation as she often does. They haven't let me into the White House yet because I forgot my ID, she tweeted, not joking. After the ceremony, she posed for photos with her spouse of 8 years, actress Portia de Rossi. Once again, DeGeneres tweeted, Barack Obama just awarded me the Medal of Freedom. I hope it serves as an ID. I have no idea how I'm getting home. Straight to the source. DeGeneres has been honored for her work promoting equal rights. She was recognized for this work at the 2015 Teen Choice Awards. She gave the following remarks when she accepted her Choice Comedian Award. I want to say also it feels good to be chosen, but there was a time in my life that I was not chosen. I was the opposite of chosen because I was different. And I think I want to make sure that everyone knows that what makes you different right now makes you stand out later in life. So you should be proud being different, proud of who you are. The most important thing I want to say is just really embrace who you are because being unique is very, very important, and fitting in is not all that matters. It's being unique and being who you are. What's the big idea? Take a close look at this passage. What does DeGeneres say about accepting others for who you are? Pick out two details that she uses to make her point. What do you notice about the way she uses the word chosen? Finding a Voice, Chapter 2. Ellen Lee DeGeneres was born on January 26, 1958, in Metairie, Louisiana. Metairie is located near New Orleans. Her mother, Betty, was an administrative assistant. Her father, Elliot, was an insurance agent. Ellen grew up with one older brother, Vance. Vance DeGeneres is also a comedian and actor. The family raised Ella and her brother in the Christian Science religion until Ellen was 13 years old. Growing up, no one would have guessed that Ellen would be a comedian. She was a quiet, reserved child. Her brother was considered the funny one in the family. This is a photo of Betty DeGeneres, mother of Ellen DeGeneres, speaks at an event in support of LGBTQ youth. The DeGeneres family moved around a lot because of Elliot's job. Ellen remembers how it felt to always be new. She says she just wanted to feel like she belonged. Later, she used those feelings to make up jokes for her comedy routine. She knew other people could relate to them too. Ellen's comedic abilities began to surface in her teen years. Her parents separated in 1972 and divorced in 1974. Ellen recalls seeing her mother upset after the divorce. She would make fun of Betty's dancing to cheer her up. Once Betty was laughing, Ellen would imitate her laughing. Betty would start to cry from laughing so hard. Unwanted move. Betty DeGeneres made a sudden decision when her daughter was a junior in high school. By then, Betty had married a man named Roy Grusendorf. Vance was already on his own. Betty decided to move herself, Roy, and Ellen to Atlanta, Texas. This news hit Ellen hard. Here's a photo of Vance DeGeneres accompanies his sister to the 1995 Golden Globe Awards. Vance is an actor, comedian, musician, screenwriter, and producer. What is Christian Science? Christian Science is a religion that teaches that all sickness and injury can be healed through prayer. Growing up, Ellen and her brother did not even use aspirin or other painkillers. Ellen later said she sometimes felt like an outsider because of the religion. When all the other kids lined up for vaccinations, she didn't have to. That was because she was a Christian Scientist. Ellen stopped participating in the religion after her parents' divorce. She did not want to leave her friends, nor did she want to leave the city and move to a rural area. Ellen threatened to move in with her grandmother, who lived in New Orleans. Betty took her on a visit to Atlanta to try to change her mind. Once there, she pointed out the positive things in the small city. Betty's plan worked, and the family moved to Texas. Ellen graduated from Atlanta High School in 1976. She packed her car and left for Louisiana the day after her graduation. She was going to stay with her grandmother and study at the University of New Orleans. She began taking classes in communication studies, but soon dropped out. She stayed in New Orleans and supported herself with a variety of odd jobs. These included working as a restaurant hostess, a house painter, and a bartender. Yet none of them really fit her personality. Ellen realized she wanted a job where she didn't have to follow someone else's rules. As it turned out, comedy was perfect for that. Tragedy to comedy. While Ellen was living in New Orleans, she was in a relationship. Ellen was 19 when her girlfriend was killed in a car accident. She recalls driving by the accident scene. Later, she learned the victim's identity. Ellen was living in a flea-infested basement apartment with no heat, no air conditioner, and a mattress on the floor. She began to wonder why bad things happened to people. She thought it would be nice if she could telephone God to get answers. The comedy bit she wrote about such a phone call would help her make history as a comedian. Further evidence. Chapter 2 includes information about DeGeneres' personality. What was one of the chapter's main points? What evidence was given to support that point? Go to the article about DeGeneres at the website below. Does the information in this article support an existing piece of evidence in the chapter? Does it add new evidence? Chapter 3: Stand-up Success. DeGeneres began creating her own stand-up routine in her early 20s. She started small. She would come home from one of her many jobs and write short, funny bits. She didn't know whether she would ever perform them. When she did begin performing, it was for her friends. She performed at coffee shops or small comedy clubs. She would do comedy at night and work during the day. Because she was funny, her name soon got around. The owner of an up-and-coming comedy club in New Orleans heard about DeGeneres' act. The club, Clyde's Comedy Club, hired her. DeGeneres built a successful stand-up comedy career in the 1980s. Hired her as the opener. Soon she was making enough money doing comedy that she did not have to work a day job. It was DeGeneres' responsibility as the opener to put the audience in a good mood. She was given less than 10 minutes on stage to do that. DeGeneres worked her way up from opening. Eventually, she had a full hour on stage. She also began to work as an MC or master of ceremonies, introducing other acts. DeGeneres performed her act at comedy clubs like the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, California. California Dreamin'. DeGeneres did well at Clyde's, yet the club was one of only a few comedy venues in New Orleans. DeGeneres knew she would need to move if she wanted to make it big. She took a friend's advice and moved to San Francisco, California. The city was full of comedy clubs. That made it even more challenging for DeGeneres. She struggled to stand out from the many funny people working in the city. After a few months, she returned to New Orleans. She was broke and homesick. She also discovered that Clyde's had closed while she was gone. She found herself once again working odd jobs and scraping by in a flea-infested apartment. Then her life changed. In 1982, DeGeneres sent an audition tape to the Showtime TV network's Funniest Person in America competition. Later that same year, DeGeneres got a call telling her she had been named Showtime's Funniest Person in Louisiana. Not long after, she competed for the national title and won. DeGeneres was named the funniest person in America. She then moved back to San Francisco. Moving there the second time was much easier. DeGeneres' national recognition landed her a gig at the elite Improv Club. Key places in DeGeneres' early life. 1. Born in Metairie, Louisiana. 2. Moved to Atlanta, Texas while in high school. 3. Moved to New Orleans, Louisiana after graduation. 4. Moved to San Francisco, California to pursue comedy careers. Ellen DeGeneres lived and worked in several cities before she became a famous comedian. How does the information presented compare with what you have learned from the text about her early life? How do you think her life and surroundings might have differed for DeGeneres in each of these places? The Improv Club attracted many talented scouts, producers, and directors. There, DeGeneres met the man who would become one of her biggest supporters. He was superstar comedian Jay Leno. DeGeneres opened for Leno at the Improv Club. Leno loved her comedic style. A few years later, he would help DeGeneres fulfill one of her biggest dreams. He helped her get the chance to perform for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show in 1986. Making history on The Tonight Show. Comedians dreamed of performing on The Tonight Show, hosted by Johnny Carson from 1962 to 1992. They also dreamed of being invited to sit and talk with Carson on the show afterward. No one knew in advance who would be invited to sit with him. Carson had never invited a female comedian to do so. The Tonight Show is a long-running late-night talk show that began in New York in 1954. The show features monologues, musical acts, celebrity interviews, and comedy skits. Steve Allen hosted the show for the first 3 years. Jack Paar followed as host for the next 5 years. Johnny Carson took over the job on October 1st, 1962. Carson's likable personality quickly earned him the title, the King of Late Night. He hosted The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson for 30 years. Carson retired in May 1992. Comedian Jay Leno was chosen to take his place. Jimmy Fallon became the host when Leno retired in 2014. Showtime's Funniest Person in America. In the early 1980s, the Showtime cable and pay television service held a national search called The Funniest Person in America. The search was open to any comic who had never before performed on national television. To enter, people just had to show up at the mobile Showtime television production van and tape a comedy bit. Winners were selected by state. Then a panel of celebrity judges picked a national winner from a handful of finalists. After winning in 1982, DeGeneres sometimes performed at later competitions. After her routine, DeGeneres waited a moment to look over at Carson. She saw him laughing and motioned for her to come join him. She had made history. DeGeneres was the first and only woman to be invited to chat with Carson after her first appearance on the show. Since her first appearance on The Tonight Show, DeGeneres has appeared on many television talk shows. Straight to the source. DeGeneres made history when she impressed Johnny Carson with a stand-up performance on his show. She described the inspiration for her phone call to God routine during an interview for the New York Times. I'm laying on the floor, wide awake, thinking, here's this beautiful girl, 23 years old, who's just gone. So I started writing what it would be like to call God and ask why fleas are here and this person is not. But my mind just kicked into what would happen if you actually picked up the phone and called God. How it would take forever, how it would ring for a long time because it's a big place. Point of view. Comedians often take a specific point of view in their stand-up routines. What point of view does DeGeneres take when she is thinking about this routine? How do you think she hopes to relate to her audiences? Chapter 4. Ellen. By 1988, DeGeneres had established herself in the world of stand-up comedy. Now she was ready for a change of pace. A stand-up career meant spending 300 or more days of the year on the road. It meant performing in many different cities. Sometimes when opening a show, she would forget the name of the town she was in. DeGeneres turned even that into a joke. When introducing a show, instead of saying, "How are you doing, South Bend?" she might open with, "Hey there, East Berlin." DeGeneres wanted to do something that would let her stay in one place for longer periods of time. In the 1990s, Ellen DeGeneres turned her attention to acting. She started exploring her options for acting on television. She briefly appeared on two sitcoms, Open House and Laurel Hill. Then in 1994, DeGeneres got her own show. It was called These Friends of Mine. In its second season, These Friends of Mine really took off. At the time, the show was renamed Ellen. Audiences fell in love with DeGeneres' goofy sense of humor. She was nominated for 4 Emmy Awards for her role in the show. By the 4th season of Ellen, DeGeneres wanted her character to do something important. It was something that she herself had done only to her mother and a few friends. That something was to come out as a lesbian. It would make her the first lead sitcom character in history to say that she was gay. In the 2-part Puppy episode, Ellen's character realizes she is gay and eventually comes out to her friends. DeGeneres, the author. Throughout her career, DeGeneres has taken the time to share her wit and wisdom in books as well as on stage and screen. Her first book was My Point, and I do have one. It is a collection of comic essays and was published in 1995. In 2003, DeGeneres published a second book. The Funny Thing Is features DeGeneres' funny comments on everything from fashion trends to how to handle seating arrangements at a celebrity brunch. Her 2011 book, Seriously? I'm kidding, includes more comic observations. DeGeneres wrote another book in 2015 titled Home. It focuses on her experiences in buying and renovating homes. Taking chances. DeGeneres knew it was a risky move. She was scared about how her audience would react. She feared that her fans would no longer applaud her or laugh. She worried they would no longer like her if they knew she was gay. As it turned out, more than 46 million people watched the show. DeGeneres won her first Emmy for writing the episode. DeGeneres received many positive letters about her character's bravery. She received a lot of opposition, too. Ellen began to lose followers. Many of those who left complained that the show focused too much on Ellen's character being gay. Some advertisers refused to have their commercials appear on the show. Executives with the show's network, ABC, were also nervous that they would offend some viewers. They began showing a warning message before every episode that showed DeGeneres dating another woman. The message warned parents that the show contained adult content. ABC canceled the show in 1998. A difficult choice. Not long before the coming out episode of Ellen, DeGeneres came out on the cover of Time magazine in 1997. Before Time, DeGeneres had told only a few people that she was gay. She had told her mother when she was 19. She and Betty were walking on a beach when DeGeneres said she was in love. Her mother said that was great. Then DeGeneres told her who it was. Although she was surprised, Betty was extremely supportive. Chapter 5. Starting Over. Suddenly, DeGeneres had nowhere to work. No one wanted to hire her as an actor. It would be 3 years before her phone rang for a part. DeGeneres was upset, but there was also positive news. She was getting letters from kids around the country who were gay. The kids told her that seeing Ellen gave them new hope for the future. Since she could not be on screen, DeGeneres decided to go back to where it all began. She returned to the stage and to stand up. Her jokes were still clean and smart. Ellen DeGeneres returned to making people smile as the host of the 2001 Emmy Awards. Audiences still loved her. In 2001, she returned to television briefly on a sitcom called The Ellen Show. It did not last long, yet it became clear that DeGeneres was in the business to stay. DeGeneres took on a 35-city stand-up tour in 2003. She also published her second book. The funny thing is, then she lent her voice to the character of Dory in Pixar's hit movie Finding Nemo. Audiences fell in love with Dory, a blue tang fish who suffers from short-term memory loss. The role was written specifically for DeGeneres. Finding Nemo became one of the highest-grossing animated movies of all time. By the end of 2003, DeGeneres had landed yet another show named after her. DeGeneres poses for photos with her wife, Portia de Rossi, at the premiere of Finding Dory, the sequel to Finding Nemo, in 2016. Hosting the 2001 Emmy Awards. DeGeneres is given the honor of hosting the 2001 Emmy Awards. The show took place less than 2 months after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. DeGeneres would have to be funny. She would also have to be respectful of the recent tragedy and loss of life. DeGeneres more than met the challenge. She received several standing ovations. That appearance also marked the beginning of her comedy comeback. This time, though, things would be different. She would still be the star, but this show is not a sitcom. The Ellen DeGeneres Show was a talk show. Humorous host. The Ellen DeGeneres Show went on to become one of history's most awarded daytime talk shows. It won the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Talk Show the first year it was nominated. On the show, DeGeneres has hosted countless celebrities, including Michelle Obama, Taylor Swift, and Justin Bieber. The show is upbeat and goofy, just like DeGeneres. DeGeneres will often prank her guests and encourage audience members to participate. The show has been running since September 2003. By early 2017, it had won 35 Daytime Emmy Awards, and it showed no signs of stopping. DeGeneres also used her celebrity status to support causes that are important to her. One of those causes is animal rights. DeGeneres is a vegan. DeGeneres laughs while hosting the Ellen DeGeneres Show in 2016. She has a special page devoted to healthy recipes on her talk show website. Most of these recipes are vegan. The recipes encourage people to prepare meatless meals. In 2009, the activist group People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, named DeGeneres their Woman of the Year. The honor recognized how DeGeneres had used her popularity to talk about animal rights. She has also been recognized for her work against bullying. In 2008, California legalized same-sex marriage. DeGeneres was able to marry her longtime girlfriend, actress Portia de Rossi. DeGeneres' courage in coming out as gay had helped change people's views. Because of that, she and many others could truly be themselves. Award winner. Study this timeline of awards DeGeneres has received for her work. What time period brought DeGeneres the most success? How does seeing the timeline help you better understand what you have learned about her career in the text? DeGeneres' fashion sense. DeGeneres has adopted a signature style. Her favorite outfit is a fashionable blazer, vest, pants, and tennis shoes. She says she dresses only to please herself. She even has used her own clothes to make people laugh. In 2006, she was giving a commencement address at Tulane University in New Orleans. She showed up in a bathrobe and slippers. The crowd was dressed in graduation caps and gowns. DeGeneres looked around and said, "They told me everybody would be wearing robes." Important dates. 1958, DeGeneres was born in Metairie, Louisiana to Elliot and Betty DeGeneres. 1972, Elliot and Betty DeGeneres separate and later divorce. 1976, DeGeneres graduates from high school in Atlanta, Texas. 1982, DeGeneres enters and wins a contest to be named the funniest person in America. 1986, after performing on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, DeGeneres becomes the first female comedian to be invited to sit and talk with Carson on the couch. 1994, DeGeneres gets her first successful television sitcom job on These Friends of Mine. The show is renamed Ellen in the second season. 1997, DeGeneres comes out as gay on the cover of Time magazine. 2001, DeGeneres hosts the Emmy Awards just months after the September 11th terrorist attacks. 2003, audience fall in love with DeGeneres as Dory in Finding Nemo. DeGeneres gets her own daytime talk show titled simply The Ellen DeGeneres Show. 2008, DeGeneres marries her longtime girlfriend, Portia de Rossi. 2009, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, names DeGeneres their Woman of the Year for using her celebrity status to talk about animal rights issues. 2015, DeGeneres steps out of her typical comedy writing to publish the book Home. The book is about her experiences in buying and renovating homes. Stop and think. Dig deeper. After reading this book, what questions do you still have about Ellen DeGeneres? Do you want to learn more about stand-up comedy? Write down one or two things that can guide you in doing research. With an adult's help, find a few reliable sources that can help answer your questions. Write a few sentences about how you did your research and what you learned from it. Say what? Comedians like DeGeneres have unique words to describe parts of their job. Find 5 words in this book that are new to you, or that have different meanings to people in the entertainment world than they do to most people. Use a dictionary to find out what they mean, then write the meanings in your own words and use each word in a new sentence. Take a stand. DeGeneres became a comedian in part because she wanted to be her own boss. What other careers let people be their own boss? Do you want to work for yourself someday? Or would you rather work for someone else? Which do you think is best and why? Tell the tale. DeGeneres has made a career of being funny. What does it take to be funny? Write 200 words that tell a story from your life in such a way that it will make your friends laugh. Be aware to set the scene, develop a sequence of events, and offer a conclusion. This section is optional, so if you want to do one of these sections, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. And then the glossary words. Bit is a small part of a comedy routine or stage performance. Elite, belonging to the most successful or powerful group of people. Emmy, a trophy awarded each year for excellence in American television. Gay, a person who is attracted to people of the same sex. Gig, a job for a musician or other entertainer. Lesbian, a woman who's attracted to other women. Opener, the first performance in a series of performances. Philanthropist, a wealthy person who donates money and time. Sitcom, a comedy show with a regular group of characters. Stand-up, performing a comedy routine along a stage. Vaccination, an injection that helps the body protect itself against a specific disease. Or vegan, a person who eats only food from plants and who often will avoid using animal products such as leather. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's read aloud on Ellen DeGeneres.